Hi, this is Summer with Summer's Tips and Stitches, and today I will be doing the tutorial on the NeverEnding Wildflower. This is a free pattern from the Little Monkeys Crochet blog. You can print this off from your computer, and it is a really great pattern. She has step-by-step instructions and pictures on how to get it done. But a few of you have mentioned in the comments that you have difficulty reading patterns, so I thought that I would try to do that for you. For this tutorial, you'll need a pair of scissors, darning needles, and an H crochet hook. This is a Clover or More crochet hook. The yarn that I am using for this tutorial is the Yarn Bee Sugar Wheel. I like it because it's kind of a stiffer, firmer, 100% acrylic yarn, worsted weight. For this, I decided I wanted to start with the purple. So I pulled the middle out, I cut it where it joined to purple, and I am starting with the purple. Doing this is called color control, and that is where you are choosing where and when you want the color changes to happen. The color path that I'm choosing, or the colorway, is Candied Orange. Alright, so let's get down to business. The first step of this is to make a magic circle. I will try my best to show you how to do the magic circle. I've never explained it before. But I have typed it quite a few times into YouTube, how to do a magic circle with crochet, and found lots of examples. So if you want a better example, maybe pause that and find it. This is how I start it. I lay my yarn across my hand, I pinch my thumb right onto the yarn, and then as I wrap, I twist my hand, I lay the yarn, let's do that down here. I'm trying to figure out how to show you guys on this camera. Okay, let's try again. Okay, so I lay it across my hand, pinch it, wrap all the way around. The second one comes out as an X. I take my hook upside down, I go under that first one, pull up the back, and as I'm pulling, I twist. Then carefully pull your magic or your loop off of your hand. Okay, there you go. You've got your loop, and for this next step you will be crocheting in this loop. First it says to do 12 double crochets in your loop. So in this tutorial I'm not going to be explaining step by step how to do each stitch. I'm just going to say it and kind of show you in this video. So we're going to do 12 double crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. If you've never crocheted in a circle, I'll try to do this part really slow. Yarn over, flip down below your 2 strands, and pull up. So you're crocheting around. So I believe that was 5. Oop, it's getting kind of twisty. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so now I've done 12. What I like to do for the next part is I expand my hook a little bit. I kind of wiggle where I started so things are loose, because sometimes I get a little tight. And then you pull this little end here and it closes up your circle. Put my hook back in. The next part says to slip stitch into the top of your chain 2. So right here, when I do this part, let me try to focus it. I like to go under both the back and the front loop. I find that it gives it a more secure fasten. Some people slip stitch in only the front loop, some just jam it into the middle. Okay, so now that I've slip stitched into the top of my chain 2, I'm going to go back here and tighten. Now you can achieve the similar look if you chain 4, slip stitch into the beginning of your chain, and then crochet into the middle. This is nice because as it loosens, you can just give it a tug, and then really what I should do is weave this in right away so that, as you'll see through this tutorial, this tail sometimes gets in the way. So that's the first step. 12 double crochets either into the magic circle where you can tighten it, or into a chain 4 circle that you've started your own. Okay. Now this pattern consists of 2 rounds per row. The first one is done in this first loop, if you look where my hook tip is, and then the second round for the is in the back loop. So the first thing I need to do is chain 2 and then double crochet right back where I changed 2. Right? Well, you know what? We've got to make sure that you get into the front loop. So I chain 2, here's that front loop. I hope you can see that. There we go. Do you see how I just pulled in? 2 double crochets in that front loop. Chain 2, and then slip stitch right back into that same front loop. Now you're going to do this all the way around. Slip stitch into the front loop of the next stitch, chain 2, 2 double crochets into that front loop stitch that you were just working in. Now chain 2 and bring it down. Basically, it's making a petal that has kind of like 4 rows in it, or 4 columns. There's the chain 2 initially, here's the 2 double crochets, and then there's the chain 2. So that is the petal. I'll pause the video, and what you're going to do is do that in every single front loop all the way around. So you should have 12 of them. Front loop consists of, one more time, a slip stitch into the next front loop, chain 2, 2 double crochets into that same stitch, chain 2, and then slip stitch right back in. Alrighty, remember that. Slip stitch, chain 2, 2 double crochets, chain 2, slip stitch. I'm going to pause the video and I'll meet you right back at the end of the last petal to show you where we join. Okay, so I just finished doing the chain 2 at the end of this last petal, and it would like us to slip stitch into the base of the first chain 2. So that's right over here. Slip stitch. Sometimes this part gets a little hard. Now, your next round of petals is going to be in the back loop. And you can do this 2 ways. You can either reach down behind and go right here into the back loop, or you can do what I do, and I turn my work and I work in the behind. Now, the reason I do this is just easier for me. What you're going to be creating in this next step is what I like to call a track of double crochets that we'll be able to do the next round. So you are going to slip stitch into the back of the first petal. So here is the first petal, and as you can see, there's a bunch of double crochets, those 2 double crochets right above the loop that we're going for. And so they want you to slip stitch. Oh, I got my yarn all the way around. Okay, they want you to slip stitch right into there, and then I will chain 2, and then I'm going to do 2 double crochets Oh wait, I was only supposed to chain 1. Ha! I thought that's going to look like 3 double crochets. I'm going to do 2 double crochets right here. 1, 2. Now you're going to look for your next back loop, and it's right here. There's the 2 double crochets from the previous round, and then that is your next back loop. You'll be able to see them in your work if you kind of hold it back. You're going to slip stitch into there. Wait, I better pause and double check here. Okay, I lied. You're not going to slip stitch. You're just going to straight double crochet into every one of these back loops. You're going to do 2. So here we go. There's my next back loop. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets. And then you're looking, here's my next back loop right there. 2 double crochets. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets. So that is what you're going to do. I'll pause this video in a moment here, and we'll meet up after you've done 2 double crochets in every back loop. When you're done, you should have done 24 double crochets, and we'll join. I'll unpause the video right before we join to start our next row. If you're not 100% sure you made the right choice on where to end, because I'm kind of questioning here, you can go ahead and count your double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So I did exactly 24. It just looks a little gappy there. Now you're going to slip stitch to the first double crochet. So that's what I'm doing. I'm finding it. Remember, I like to go under both to have a nice secure anchor. Slip stitch there. Now for the next row, we're going to do the next row petals. I turn my work and we're going to be going into the front loop. So first, chain 2, double crochet in that front loop. I'm going to show you. This is where my double crochet came out, and I'm going to go right here in that front loop. I'm going to try to focus again. So that is where my first, I'm going to double crochet, then I'm going to chain 2 and slip stitch. Nope, I'm going to double crochet into the next stitch. And then I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm a slip stitch. So for this next set of petals, you are going to be using 2 stitches for every petal. So here we chained 2, or we chained 2, double crocheted in the same stitch, then we went to the next stitch, double crocheted, and then we chained 2 and we slip stitched back into it. So it's the same pattern of starting with a slip stitch, chain 2, but now you're going to be using 2 stitches. So let's do it again. Slip stitch into the front loop of the next stitch, chain 2, double crochet in that same front loop. Now move to the next stitch, go to the front loop and double crochet into that, chain 2, and slip stitch into that stitch. Let's do it again, and then I'll pause the video. Slip stitch into this next stitch, chain 2, in that front loop do a double crochet, move to the next stitch in the front loop. Oop, I split my yarn. Double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch into that loop. Okay, so remember the pattern is slip stitch, whoop, in the front loops. This whole row, this whole round is in the front loops. I'm having a hard time getting this front loop. As you can see, it's shredding. So slip stitch, chain 2, double crochet, same stitch, new stitch, front loop, double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch. Next stitch, front loop, slip stitch, chain 2, double crochet in that same spot, next stitch, double crochet, front loop, chain 2, slip stitch. Okay, I'm going to pause the video and we can keep going around doing that same pattern of slip stitch, chain 2, double crochet, move to the next stitch, double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch. I'll pause it when we get all the way around to the end of this round of petals. Alright, so I just finished up with this last double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch back into my stitch, and then I'm going to join into the base of my chain 2. Now again, I like to work into the back, so this is where I turn my work. And actually, if you hold it like this, you can see the circle of back loops that I will be working in. And again, just like the previous row, we're going to do double crochets to create the next track for our next row of petals. So we slip stitch right then. We're going to slip stitch right to this back loop right there under the first. Remember, if you have a hard time finding it, right above that back loop is going to be the petal with a couple double crochets right above it. So that should help you find it if you can't see it. So you're going to chain, slip stitch the back 1, chain 1, and then I'm going to do 2 double crochets right here where I just did, where my slip stitch. So 2 double crochets. Then I'm going to look for my next back loop, which should be right next door to it, and I'm going to do 1 double crochet. This is just like if you've made a hat. When you're growing the top of your hat, we're doing the pattern of 2 double crochets in 1 back loop, and then in the next one we're doing 1 double crochet. So that is the pattern all the way around. 2 double crochets in 1 loop, 1 double crochet in the next loop. I feel like I will pause the video now. 1, because it's so hard to crochet in the camera. It's such a weird spatial thing where your hands are closer than where they really are. That's why I'm so bad at it. Okay, so look right here. 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, follow all the way around. I'm going to pause my video and I'll meet you right after you do the last double crochet so we can join. Slip stitch to join. Okay, so I just did my last double crochet, and you know, I didn't check, but I ended in 1. I suppose I could check to make sure I did it right. 2, 1, 2, because I have a bad habit of not paying very good attention and doing the wrong number of stitches. I get in a hurry, and so I'm just looking around here. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Yep, I did it. Ha. Okay, so you're going to slip stitch to the first double crochet, and you should have 36. So I'm looking for my double crochet right there. Remember, I like to go under both to create a nice secure bond. And then here we are going to do the next round. So turn your work, or if you were doing it the other way, keep going. This is round 4 back, or pardon me, round 3 of petals, front loops, chain 2. Double crochet in the same stitch, but remember, you're going for the front loops in this one, so you gotta wiggle it in. Now, this next move is going to be 2 treble crochets in the next stitch. And these, of course, are American terms, not British. So for treble crochets, you wrap around twice. you go into the front loop, you pull up a loop, you pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. That's a treble crochet. Wrap around twice, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. British folks, I don't know what you call a treble crochet since you call doubles. Maybe a double treble. I don't know. So that is the next part. Then in the next stitch, front loop, remember, do a double crochet, and then just like we did in all the other, you're going to chain 2 and then slip stitch back where you did that double crochet. So now this petal is taking up 3 stitches. Chain 2, double crochet in 1 stitch, 2 treble crochets in the next stitch, and then in the last a double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch, all in the front loop. So it's 3 stitches to make 1 petal. Let's do it again. Slip stitch into the front loop, double crochet into that same front loop. Now wrap twice for a treble, and another treble. Now go to your next stitch, front loop, double crochet, and then chain 2, slip stitch back into that stitch. Let's do another one together. Slip stitch into the front loop of the next stitch. Double crochet. No, chain 2. Now double crochet. Next stitch, front loop, treble, so wrap twice. Pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Wrap twice. Next stitch, front loop, double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch in that front loop right next to your double crochet. So there we go, 3 stitches. The pattern goes chain 2, double crochet, front loop, next stitch, front loop, 2 trebles, next stitch, front loop, a double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch. Now you're going to do that all the way around, and as you guessed, when you get to the last part, you're going to slip stitch into the top. Whoops, see there, I just did a double while I was chatting with you. You're going to slip stitch into that next, into the base of the double crochet. Okay, I'm going to pause the video, and I am going to go all the way around. In fact, I just did all that chatting, and I'm afraid for you newbies, you might have forgotten the pattern, so I'm going to say it one more time for you, and then I'll pause. Slip stitch into the front loop, chain 2, double crochet in that same front loop. Now you're going to treble, so wrap twice into that front loop of the next stitch. Treble again into the front loop of that same stitch. Next stitch, double in the front loop, chain 2, slip stitch right next to your double. Remember, it's 3 stitches per petal. Okay, let's meet again at the end. Just checking in as I'm working. I'm doing my 2 trebles right now. I partly have to check in because I don't know how to edit videos yet, and if I leave my video paused for too long, it will shut off. This is actually my second time trying to do the video because it shut down while I was working. So just make sure you're getting your front loops, and then I'm almost ready to meet you. Okay, I'm going to pause again. This round is going slow for me. Okay, here we are. So I just finished up my slip stitch, or my slip stitch right after my double crochet. I'm going to slip stitch again into the base, and then like I said, I like to turn my work, and as you can see, we are on to the next row. These are my back loops all the way around. I still haven't weaved in my end. Ugh. And you are going to do double crochets in here to create the next track for your next row of flowers. We'll pull out some yarn over here so we can get going. First thing we always do is slip stitch into the back loop, the first back loop. So here it is, my first back loop, slip stitch into it. And then we're going to start doing some double crochets. So now, just like our hats, when we're growing, this is what we're doing. We're making it bigger. You're going to do 2 double crochets in this stitch. 1, 2. Remember, you slip stitched into that back loop, you chained 1, and then went right away into 2 double crochets, all into this little spot. Slip stitch, chain 1, 2 double crochets. And the next back loop right here, 1 double crochet. Next stitch right here, back loop, 1 double crochet. The next one, which is right here, 2 double crochets. That is the pattern that you will be repeating all the way around. 2 double crochets in 1 stitch, 1 double crochet in the next 2, 2, 1, 1. So as we go around, we're creating, like I said, the next, I did some chatting, I don't know what I'm doing now, 2, 1, 1. We're creating the next row that we'll be working in the top of. I'll show you what we've got. There we go, right there. That is what we're doing, and it's going to go all the way around. Remember, it does 2 double crochets in 1 stitch, 1 double crochet in the next, 1 in the next. And remember, these are all the back loops. Okay, I'm going to pause my video and we'll meet after we do our last double crochet. And let's see, 2 double crochets in the same stitch. You're going to have 48 double crochets when you get to the end. Now, if you don't necessarily have 48 when you get to the end, rip out a couple and do a couple doubles until you get there. That's what I do. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect. I mean, you can go and rip out the whole thing, but I tend to just fudge it a little bit sometimes. It all works out in the end. But 48 double crochets. Okay, I'm going to pause because this is getting long. Okay, I just finished doing my rounds of double crochet. You are going to slip stitch into the top of that chain, that double crochet from the previous round. There you go. Again, if you were working, you're not going to need to turn your work, but I need to. And the next round of petals in the front loop, it's going to follow a very similar pattern to what we did before. Chain 2, double crochet in that same stitch in the front loop, remember, so get in there, and then 2 trebles in the next stitch. So trebles, you wrap twice. Remember, it's the front loop. So there's 1 treble. There's 2 trebles. 2 trebles in the next stitch. So we're going to do it again. Another set of trebles in the next stitch. 2 wraps in that front loop. Now we're going to do the next part of the petal, which is going to be a double right here in the front loop, and we're finishing it up. So you might guess, chain 2, slip stitch. So this is what our next petal looks like. In this one, we have a chain, you chain 2, slip stitched into here, chain 2, double crochet, 2 trebles, 2 trebles, double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches for our next petal. As you can see, they're getting wider. So let's do that together a few times before we pause the camera. So this row goes into the front loops, slip stitch, chain 2, double crochet in that same stitch, 2 trebles in the next front loop of the next stitch, another set of trebles in the next front loop, and then in the next stitch, front loop, double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch, slip stitch in the next stitch, double in the next front loop. Whew, I got a little bit of a mess going on there because I split my yarn. Splitting your yarn is when you don't get all of the strands in, you don't get through all the strands. So I slip stitched, chain 2, double crochet in my next stitch, trebles, 2 trebles in the next front loop. Remember, you wrap twice, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then through 2, through 2, through 2. 1 set of trebles, another set of trebles, I'm gonna pull some yarn. Those trebles really take up a lot of yarn. And to be honest, this is not getting through the yarn as fast as I thought it would be. I'm still doing purple. Oh wait, double crochet in the front loop, chain 2, slip stitch in the front loop right next to my double. 1 more and then I'll pause. Slip stitch, chain 2, double crochet in that same front loop. Move to the next front loop, 2 trebles together. Next front loop, 2 trebles. Doot doot. Next stitch, double crochet in the front loop, chain 2, and slip stitch. Let's take a look real quick to see how they're looking. That is what your petal is looking